Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to Coffee Shop Chatter. I'm Miss Controversy. So today we're gonna discuss those who reside on the plantation and those who've never been on the plantation of the Democrats. So you had people that refuse to see how they've been getting played for the past umpteenth years, riding on the plantation and working on the plantation of the Democrats. So you have those who are smart enough to see through the BS, but you have those who refuse to see it because they're getting free things like welfare, or they're getting free concerts. No policies are talked about, no laws, anything that they're going to do for them, but they throwing out all these rappers and everything, and they like, for some reason, I don't know why they like to follow these people, because they can't tell you one thing that, I'm gonna say, they can't tell you one thing that Kamala Harris is, what she's riding with. What is her policies? She has none. Her policies is to talk about Trump every moment she can get. But she can't talk about how she couldn't secure the border that she was put in charge, which they try to say she wasn't, but there's video evidence of Biden appointing her that position. Never been down to the border. People say, oh, she's been down there. I live in Texas. Hell, I've probably been down there more than she has. She's never been down to the border. So that's been debunked. Her record as being AG, locking up innocent black men, not allowing evidence that would have proven that they were innocent. Fabricated evidence. Always been proven. Not allowing, let people out when they're supposed to get out, but using them for free labor. Slave labor. If you really, that's what you want to call it, because that's what it is. But we're going to go ahead and get in this video and, see what these folks got to say.
Joining us now is Stacy Washington, host of Stacy on the Right, Sirius XM Patriot Radio, and Anton Daniels, YouTuber and content creator. Anton, let's start with you. You just went viral for an exchange that you had with a Kamala supporter. Let's watch.
Would you vote for?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm going to just be real honest with this. She's a black woman.
Is it only because she's a black woman?
Yeah.
Do you not see how that's a bad idea?
Elaborate.
We're in 3 proxy wars. She failed at the border. She has no policy, no record to stand on.
Okay, Anton, first of all, I think I forwarded that to 20 of my friends. That was such an awesome takedown. But tell us about that, because I saw some of the other participants like nervously drinking their Coke or whatever they were drinking. But tell us about your interactions with people who happen to be African American who instinctively seem to go for Kamala because it's the right thing to do.
Absolutely. I think it's unfortunate because the majority of my interactions is me being looked at as the bad guy, because ultimately they think that I'm supposed to be on code, even though I know and they know that it's not in our best interest, in my family's best interest, in the country's best interest. And when we continue to play identity politics, the thing that they usually refer to is our previous history in electing people in office that ultimately even they will concede that they didn't have our best interests at heart. And so when I'm interacting with these people, often at times it's very difficult for them to step outside of being on code in order to do the thing that's even in their best interest. So I'm often looked at as a bad guy, but in reality, they know I'm telling the truth, and that's why it's so difficult for them to be able to convey and then debate what it is that I'm telling them, because they already know what the truth is. They're not unfamiliar with what it is that they experienced over the last 3.5 years. They're suffering, they don't have jobs, they have lower wages, they can't pay their bills. And so when they experience this, but it's very difficult for us as a community then break away from the popular thing to do because they don't want to be a part of the cool kids club anymore.
Well, Stacy, I have to say that seems to sum it up. It's reflexive, and it takes a lot of courage. You know that. Of course, Anton knows that. I clerk for Justice Thomas. I mean, they're still beating him up all these years later. So it's a tough place to be, but it's factually the right place to be. So, Stacy, how do you handle this? And by the way, Kamala Harris behind in Georgia in the swing state poll average, I think by 4 points, 5 points, 6 points. So she's speaking in Atlanta, lots of Kamala signs behind her. One white dude behind her, I see him. Stacy, thoughts on this?
You know, Laura, I think Anton hit the nail on the head. This is about policy, and no one, I don't care who you are, if you're a white woman, a black woman, it doesn't matter what your skin is. What matters is, how do these policies impact you? How does the policy of open borders and giving jobs to foreigners instead of Americans impact your bottom line? How does the double-digit inflation, which stacks up month after month, is cumulative, impact your bottom line? Can you still save money? Can you take a vacation? Can you buy that home? Can you upgrade? Can you move out of an apartment into a house? These are very real impacts. Anton described them well. And I think when I find people that only want me to address my life as if I get up every morning and say, what am I going to do today because I'm black? They don't understand me. I'm a human being. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm just somebody's mom on the radio. I'm just somebody's mom on Laura Ingraham tonight for the first time. Thank you. But I'm sitting here listening to Anton. He makes sense. And what makes sense to me is what the policy is, you know?
Well, okay, these are facts, okay? And into the image making of Kamala, even the New York Times today, and forgive me for not having the direct quote, but the New York Times today had to write a piece about Kamala's biographical transformation. And there was a piece about how her father, who's of Jamaican descent, he was a Marxist economist at Stanford, socialist Marxist economist at Stanford. He's still alive. Very controversial, but you know, he's a tenured professor at Stanford University. That she never really talked much about him, that he's kind of a footnote in her biography. But then she leans into it, Anton, and President Trump spoke about this with me. She leans into it, I guess, for her political benefit.
Absolutely. And I think that identity politics is the play. When you don't have anything else to lean on, when you spent the majority of the time being absent, and then on top of that, you then advocated for being part of the alphabet community, which I call them, and then you failed at the border to the tune of the estimation of 10 to 15 million migrants coming into this country illegally. What else do you have to stand on? So then you start to lean on the thing that even black people, honestly, when I'm having these conversations, black people don't even consider her a part of the cool kids club, but they have to lean on it in order to have something to even be able to hold on to instead of just saying, hey, listen, Trump is the best candidate. They want to say that I want to be a part of the Democratic Party. So they figure out a way to validate themselves to be a part of this movement, which is not even best for them. It's silly.
Stacy, a friend of mine who went to law school with me, just messaged me. We were told from the beginning that they couldn't argue the issues. And they know that Trump is better on the economy, better on defending our interests, better on the border, stopping illegal immigration. He won't drag us into war. So all they do is revert back to the childish games as we saw with the white dudes for Kamala. I mean, how pathetic is that? It's almost like it's I thought actually a conservative must have made that. I thought that whole Zoom was created by a conservative because it was so repulsive, but it was so funny. I think in one of the people speaking, I think a lot of the mail-in ballots were hidden. But it's a very strange. They think that helps them.
Yeah, they do. But I think, there are people in America whose incomes are such that these double-digit inflationary impacts don't really mean anything to them. They're insulated from the policy decisions they make in the ballot box. But for most Americans, that's not the case. And even if you are wealthy, if you care about your bottom line, if you're actually very frugal and you pay attention to your money, you don't want to see double-digit inflation. You don't want to see America sending $200 billion to Ukraine. You don't want to see boots on the ground, our own children spilling our blood and treasure abroad for something that we really have no interest in. And you really want to see some cogent domestic policy that prioritizes some of our very serious issues that we had, even coming out of the pandemic: homelessness, mental health crisis, health care. There are some things we need to do.
I know, but Stacy, you're dealing in the realm of facts. When you actually see interviews, when people are pushed on this who are refusing to think differently, they'll say stuff like, well, but he's not going to be good on equity. Right, Anton? Equity. He's going to disembowel equity. And what I say to folks is, how is equity? How's all the equity of the last 3.5 years worked out for your communities? Illegal immigrants using your schools?
It's absolutely horrible. It's absolutely horrible, and it's so funny because, you know, I've been seeing this whole movement, right, where they first leverage sororities and fraternities as far as the Divine Nine to try to include them in order to try to get her to be obviously presidential. I don't think that it's working because everybody that's in my community and the people that I speak with, especially black men, are even disappointed in white men in that why would you then follow white women who are extreme feminists and then let them follow black women in order to try to be a part of this cool kids club?
Oh my God.
When you can't stand on policy and you can't stand on real things that's going to help everyday Americans, especially those that are in these Democratic hellholes that are suffering the most. It's insane.
We got Stacy and Anton, fantastic first appearances on the Ingram Angle.
So there you have it. Now, you had some people talking about, oh, well, she's black. She's not black. Her daddy even said, no, he's not, because he's not 100% Jamaican. He's 50-50, which means she's like, lucky she's even 25% Jamaican. So that debunks that. Everybody talking, you have people talking about, oh, well, she went to an HBCU. Everybody goes to an HBCU. Asian people, African people, white people. HBCUs are not till it's no longer predominantly or all African American or black people going to it. It was, if you do find out what the history is of why those institutions were actually stood up, it no longer serves that purpose anymore. Oh, but she's an AKA. So what? AKA is no longer a black sorority. None of the Divine Nine is no longer black. It's just a sorority and a fraternity. Because you have everybody can now become AKA, a Delta, an Alpha, a Q. You got white Q dogs, you got white Alphas, you got white Kappas, you got white Zetas, you got white AKs, you got white Deltas. So there is no such thing as a black sorority or black fraternity. At one point, yes, it was. But it's no longer that. I don't even call them a black fraternity or black sorority. I call them their fraternities and their sororities. That's it. So she used them. She went to HBCU. She never went to a school in the U.S. She went to all schools in Canada, lied about the whole thing about how Joe Biden she had to be busted and all that. That shit, that never happened. She went to school in Canada. But see, some of you people are so ignorant, you don't do no type of research on these people. You take everything they say. Just like they try to clean up, her past by saying, oh, no, she was never the border czar. Yes, she was. Also was given $700 million. Where did that money go to address the border? Where did that money go? She's never been she never went to the border, ever. Never been down there. So that's another lie. She never speaks on no type of policy, not once. Tell me one policy that she's spoken on that she's going to address, other than open borders and Roe v. Wade, which everyone's trying to pin that on President Trump. It was the SCOTUS. The SCOTUS said, hey, that shouldn't be in our lane. That should be a state thing, which I agree. The state should make their own laws when it comes to that. If they come up with their guidelines of what allows you to or not have an abortion, that's on them. Then you just go to another state that allows to fit whatever your circumstances, because you was irresponsible, and now you want to take a hit out on the fetus, then you just go to another state and do that. But for some reason, black people, we are the most gullible race in this country. And I'm gonna just say it. We're the most gullible. And prove me wrong. You know, they have a video that's called "How to Sell to a Negro." It's a blueprint. And if you watch it, everything that's in there is factual. The Democrats are using that same blueprint, but it's a twist. It's still doing marketing. How do you get black people to vote? You give them free things. You throw a couple people out there like Meg Thee Stallion, Quavo. You never have to talk about. You don't have to talk about no policies. You don't have to say anything that you want to address. You just throw these celebrities out there, and you idiots get behind them like they're the damn Pied Piper. And you get in line and you just be dancing. And you're stuck in, like, you're stuck on the you are stuck on the Democratic plantation. That's why I say I tell people don't ever associate with no political party. Just be independent or just say, hey, I'm for myself. I listen to what someone has to say, whatever policies they've gone out there, because a lot of times they're going to lie. But you got to feel the one you're going to get the benefit of the doubt to, and say, hey, this is what I'm going to go with. A lot of things when Trump ran the first time, a lot of things he said he was going to do, he did. He addressed the border. He the one that gave the HBCUs the most money out of any president that ever sat in that damn office. And Biden came behind him and cut some of that money. He put an executive order addressing the border. Biden rescinded that executive order, just like he did with the money for HBCU, just like he did for the executive order that addressed the small businesses, which now you have small businesses that's struggling. And people are so caught up in their feelings that they will spite their face, or how's this, cut up their nose to spite their face or some bull crap. Because, I don't like him. I don't like what he said. Well, you didn't have a problem when Biden said, you don't vote for me, you're not black. I don't remember President Trump putting anything out there that caused any African American to go to jail. Go look at Kamala Harris when her resume when she was the AG, and she was locking up black men over marijuana, but she smoked it herself and then laughed about it. On the Breakfast Club, laughing, giggling like she always do, like a damn hyena. She's always laughing. You had Biden also created laws and policies that got black men locked up. Hell, he didn't want his kids going to school with any black kids. But y'all ain't have no problem with that. But I have yet to see anything that President Trump did that caused any harsh discourse or anything to African American, black people, whatever you want to label yourself as. I've yet to see him do anything along those lines. But you in your feelings because you don't like him. You try to say he's a dictator, that we're going to go into World War III. He was just president. He already did 4 years. How many wars did we have? Anywhere. How many wars were there? Now look at these past 4 years. How many wars is currently going on? And some more is about to pop off. Think it's not. So to try to tie that to him and call him, all this other stuff, it makes no sense. I don't understand why people, and it's just fear mongering. And black people fall for it, especially the elderly people. But you sitting out here struggling, barely can buy groceries. You complaining about buying 2 bags of groceries and your groceries like $100-something. But you willing to put these same people back in there instead of putting someone in there who actually had the economy that was low, lower deficit, lower interest rates. Fuel was lower. But yet you want to repeat of the past 4 years. You got a VP that lied for 4 fucking years talking about how, aware, and how Biden's on top of his game. Everybody seen that joke was going downhill. Before he even ran, people was talking about it. But y'all put him in there anyway. Why? Because you didn't like Trump, but why? What policies or what he put in place that affected you negatively that make you not want to run, that make you not want to vote for him? But then you look at people that's in there now, and you're getting screwed. You look at New York, lawless. Chicago, lawless. All these Democratic states, lawless. Criminals got more rights than the damn citizens. Hell, they ain't even afraid of the police. Beating up cops, shooting cops, robbing cops. And then you get in your feelings because he's talking about, hey, how the illegal immigrants is taking black jobs. Let me tell you what the black job is. Because you had these stupid doctors and all them get on here talking about, I'm a black doctor, and this is a black job. None of those people live in your neighborhood. None of those doctors live in the ghetto. I'm going to tell you what it is. That's what it is. Most of you, that's where you reside at. You live in high crime areas, and not one of those doctors live there. They live out somewhere in the suburbs, living it up because they're making well over six figures while your ass struggling where you at. So I'm going to tell you what the black job is. All these little migrants that they're throwing in your area, all these illegal immigrants that they're throwing in your area, draw a line distance-wise from where you live out to where you work. You probably work maybe 3-4 miles max, about 3 miles, 4 miles. Everything within that circle, that's a black job. Because if you look at your job and the majority of you are black, that's a black job. So when they get in your area, and because they're willing to take a lower pay, and then your ass start getting laid off or fired, they just wait for you to do something so they can fire you, and they start hiring them because they're gonna have to, because they can pay them less than what they're paying you. Now you sitting there collecting unemployment. Now you crying because you can't find a job because all the jobs that initially that you didn't want, they're going to take those jobs. So now you unemployed. Next comes your eviction, and now you're out in the streets. Or you're in the homeless shelter with your damn kids because a lot of you are single mothers because the father's not there. You probably just, a lot of you ran them off. Then what? Guess you're going to blame that on Trump too, huh? But that's all I got. But, hey, I'd like to say, get down in the comments, tell me what you think. I'm going to drop the link for, Anton and Stacy, put it down in my description. So if you want to go check out their YouTube channels, you can do that. But, I say, black folks, you better wake the hell up. You think they're not trying to replace you? I'm fine. I'm retired. I get my money irregardless. I'm in my lower 50s and I'm retired. Work because I want to work. I don't have to work. You have to work because you don't own shit. And a lot of times because it's financial illiteracy. But that's all I got. All I gotta say, wake up.
Please wake up.